Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we're going to do a playthrough of Elder Sign using the Omens of the Pharaoh expansion. I'm also going to be playing with the Gates of Arkham and the Unforeseen expansion thrown in there as well. So we're going to have lots of new stuff in this game if you've only played the base game. We're going to go ahead and do a full playthrough here because I am actually recording this in advance of being out for Alaska. So if you're watching this when it just came out, know that I will be out of town until July 17th, and that's of 2018. So if you're watching this and you make a comment and I don't respond, that's why. So let's go really quick through setup. First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to grab the level 1 exploration cards because we're going to start out in Cairo. We have our starting card here, Cairo. We'll see that more in detail as we get into the playthrough, but that means we start at the level 1 adventures. There are level 1 adventures and level 2 in this one. So that's a little bit different. That you'll see that in all of the Omen expansions. I think there's Omen of the Pharaoh, Omens of the Deep, and I can't remember what the other one is. This is the newest one. It came out in 2018, Omens of the Pharaoh. You'll make sure to have 3 of the adventure cards face down and 3 of the adventure cards face up. And you'll see there's successes and failures, what happens when you succeed and when you fail, those specific adventures, the trophy cost, and yeah, we'll go through all the rest as we get into the playthrough. Here we have the Ancient One for the game. I chose one of the Ancient Ones from this expansion. This is the Haunter of the Dark. So the Haunter of the Dark has a special ability. Each time an investigator claims a monster marker other than a mask monster marker as a trophy, he or she discards that trophy. Then he or she may lose 2 sanity to gain 1 relic. And relics are something new in this expansion. You'll see how they work. They are awesome. At midnight, so we do have this clock, and every time the clock strikes midnight, what's going to happen is we either have to place 1 Doom token on the Doom track, or an investigator has to discard 1 relic. Now, in order for us to defeat this Ancient One, we need to obtain 11 Elder Signs. That will work as long as this Doom track over here isn't fully complete. Once this Doom track gets fully completed, this Ancient One wakes up, and then we have to fight him. And if we can beat him by rolling enough skulls, because that's how we beat this specific Ancient One, if we can do that enough times to basically eliminate his health, we'll win the game. But if, when he attacks, and this is his attack ability, and we all die, then we lose the game. Something new to this game is the expedition board. There's going to be times when we can claim an expedition token, and what we'll do is we'll place them on one of these special abilities. And either we get that ability for the rest of the game, or it might be we'll remove the token, and then we get that ability when we remove the token. The other thing that's new are these Dark Pharaoh cards. Sometimes these will be placed out on the board, and if ever we have all of them placed, and we need to place another and we cannot, we lose the game. The 2 investigators that I'm going to play with, at least for now until they start dying, are 2 from the expansion, and that is Preston Fairmont. So Preston Fairmont starts with 1 clue, and clues will be used to reroll dice, and 2 regular items. So we've got our Cavalry Saber and our Cult Robes, okay? And that just allows us to roll a yellow die. We have Wealthy as our special ability. Once per turn, when Preston gains 1 common item or unique item, he may regain 1 sanity or 1 stamina. So his sanity is 4 and his stamina is 6. And if either one of those goes down to 0, he's eliminated from the game. We place a Doom on the Doom track and we grab a new investigator. Unless we're in that final showdown against the Ancient One, then totally done. He's out. Here we have Agatha Crane. She gets to start with 1 unique item and 1 spell. Her ability is each time Agatha loses 1 or more sanity, she gains a clue. Cool. And she has 6 sanity and 4 stamina. Here we have our decks of cards that I have all shuffled up and ready to go. Our unique items, our allies, our relics, so this is new. Our new Mythos deck specific for the Omens of the Pharaoh. We have our common items. Our cursed and the opposite side, which I hope to get, blessed dice. This comes in the Unforeseen expansion, so you might not see that if you're not using the Unforeseen expansion cards. The skill deck and the spell deck. The last thing to talk about before we jump into the playthrough are the masked enemies. Normally you only use those for certain ancient ones, but when you're doing the Omens of the Pharaoh, you always include all of the masked enemies into the monster cup, but I'm using a monster bag. With that, let's go ahead and start the game. So the first thing that we do is we draw the top Mythos card. And in this game, what you're going to do when you're playing with the Omens of the Pharaoh expansion, you have two options, and you have to pick one of them. In other expansions or in the base game, you'll have one potential immediate effect and then one effect that may last the rest of the round or may have something happen at midnight. So here we have either add one Doom to the Doom track, then put one Dark Pharaoh special adventure into play, or add one Doom token to the Doom track, then each investigator loses one sanity and one stamina. The Dark Pharaoh rises. Well, neither of those are good. I don't particularly want one of the Dark Pharaoh ones out now, just when we start. So I think I'm going to do this one, and we'll have each of us lose one sanity and one stamina, and then place one Doom already on the Hunter of the Dark. We place the Doom right here on this Doom track. Now you can see this icon means nothing happens when we place that Doom, but when we place Doom in this spot, that means we spawn a monster. And if we place Doom on this icon, that means we have to draw one of the Dark Pharaoh cards. So this isn't terrible, other than it's also getting us closer to these bad symbols and closer to the end game where we actually have to fight this specific ancient one. Also, since Agatha lost one sanity, she gains a clue. Cool. We'll start with Agatha. So in your turn, you start on your movement phase, and then you go to the resolution phase. So on the Cairo card here, you can spend trophies, and how you gain trophies is by completing adventures and defeating monsters. So you can spend 6 trophies to gain 1 expedition token, 5 trophies to gain an ally, 4 for 1 unique item or spell, 3 to gain 1 common item, 2 to regain 2 sanity or 2 stamina, and then you can actually spend 1 clock time, so you advance the clock 3 hours, and we flip to the next location. When we do that, then we'll draw cards from the level 2 adventure deck. They're going to be harder, but they're also going to give us more ways to obtain Elder Signs. I'm certainly not ready for that, so I think instead I'm going to move to one of the adventures. I'm going to move Agatha over here to the Brazen Stalker. Now, what we're trying to do is obtain 3, 3, and 3 of these investigation icons on 6 of the green dice. If we can do that, we will succeed and gain a clue and an ally. If we fail, we lose 1 stamina, and we have to spawn a monster. The trick is, this is kind of like Yahtzee. You're going to roll your 6 dice. You can never complete more than 1 of these rows at a time. So let's say this row had multiple icons. We'd have to complete all these ones in this one row at one time, but then we'd have to stop, roll the rest of the dice again to try and get the next row. We don't have to do these in order unless it says so. There'd be an arrow pointing down, but we do have to get this in 3 different rolls. We also have a terror ability here. What that means is if we fail at a die roll and one of our dice show this icon, the terror icon, we have to return 1 removed green die to your die pool. So it's actually a good thing, I think. If I'm reading that right, return 1 removed green die to your die pool. So it's actually a good thing. That doesn't normally happen. So I'm actually hoping to activate the terror effect. Yeah, that's not normal. We have a total of 6 green dice that we can use to start the game. Now, we could use our items potentially to gain more dice or to help us for rerolls, but let's see first what we get in our first roll. Okay, that's not terrible. We have a 2 for 2 investigation and a 1, so that would complete one of the rows. So since I've completed this row, great. What I can do is pick up the rest of the dice that I have here and roll them again. Oh, nice. I got a 3. So I've now technically completed 2 out of the 3 rows. You see? So I have 3 investigation here, so I've completed that row. 3 investigation here, so I've completed that row. So I only have 1 more row I need to complete, and I've got 3 dice. Okay, come on. And I got a 1 and a terror. So that's not good. So based on how I see this, these dice are being used currently. I don't have them on here since I'm showing you the adventure as I'm rolling. But normally, if I had one die that was removed, I have a terror here and I failed, I should actually get one die back into my dice pool. But can't do that because I don't have any that are not in my dice pool that are not being used. So instead, I'm going to lose this one because I failed a die roll, and I'm going to pick these two up and roll them again. Okay, well, this might not be bad. I failed, so the terror effect happens. I get this die back, and I lose this one. And I don't know if I'm doing this right, but it seems like this is what I'm supposed to do. And I give them a roll. Oh my gosh, double terror. So I'll lose one of these, gain this die back. Yeah, this is a weird happenstance. This is not normal. Come on, there we go. Okay, so we have enough investigation for all three of these rows. Perfect. And this die, yep, we just didn't need it. So we'll gain one clue and one ally. We'll also take this card and we can now use this as a trophy, potentially to help ourselves heal or maybe to use it to get a relic, something like that. So I'll keep this with Agatha. And then we gain as an ally, we have Thomas E. Malone. Place one sanity token on Thomas F. Malone, that's an F apparently, not an E, to change one die showing a lore result to a skull result. Discard this when there are 4 tokens on it. Nice. Next, what we do is we will refill the adventure and we'll take the top card from the level of the location that we're at. So we're still at Cairo. So because we're still at Cairo, we still grab from level 1. And you can see on top here, this is green. This tells you that that's going to be an easier adventure versus the yellow, which is an average, and a red is a hard adventure. So we'll go ahead and place this out, and we place it face down. So that means we potentially have to do this ability on top, and we don't know what's on the other side. Finally, during the clock phase, we advance the clock 3 hours. And just so you know, even though it's kind of weird because a clock is only 12 hours, whenever we hit noon or midnight or 12 here, it's always considered midnight. It's never going to be considered noon. So this is midnight, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight. Just think that they're sleeping during the day. Now we'll move to Preston's turn. Now you may see that Agatha here is back on Cairo, and that's because she completed her adventure. If she had failed, she would have stayed on that adventure card, and she could have tried it again next turn. Preston's going to come over to the Temple District. He's going to look at the top 3 cards of either adventure deck, so that's adventure deck level 1 or 2. You may put one of those cards on the bottom of the deck. I'm definitely going to do level 2. That way I can kind of know what's going to happen when I do decide to move to the next location. Oh man, looking at these 3, look at this one. 3 Elder Signs. We definitely want to keep that one on top. This one gives us only 1 Elder Sign. Oh, look at that. We need investigation of 8. And this one we get a relic, though. I think I'm going to discard this one. I don't like the look of this one. So, or not even discard. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the deck. And I'll put these 2 on top of the deck. After we've resolved the back of this card, we will flip it over. And we see the Cursed Figurine. This one has an entry effect. 2 monsters appear. Ouch. Okay, so what we do is from my awesome Cthulhu bag, which yes, I'm going to be using that on in my Arkham Horror playthroughs now instead of the red solo cup. That'll be good. Oh my gosh, look at this monster. Holy moly. Okay, it's going to lock both the yellow and the red die, and I'll show you what that means in a second. And we need 4 investigation, and then this one, we're going to need to open up a gate and lose 1 sanity in order to complete that monster. Oh my gosh. So there are some items that allow you to roll additional dice, and well, they both just got locked by this monster. So we have to defeat that monster if ever we want to be able to roll the red or the yellow die. Here's our 6 dice. Let's give them a roll. Based on what we rolled, I think we're going to defeat this monster first. I technically could defeat both monsters. I have enough of the investigation, but remember, I can only do 1 row at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the terror here that I rolled. I'm going to have to open up an otherworld gate, and we had to have Preston lose 1 sanity, so he only has 2 left. But that means we've defeated this monster. At the same time, we're going to have to place this Otherworld card out on the board. And because I'm playing with the Gates of Arkham, I think I can do this. I'm going to place one of these gate tokens here, and then I have to place that on one of the adventure cards out on the table. We cannot go to that adventure card then until we resolve this Otherworld card. I'm going to do that on this Outpost card because I don't like this ability anyways, so I'm just not going to go there right now. All we need with this second roll is 4 investigation, and we have 5 dice. So this actually is pretty likely. We have 2, 4, or 3, 1. Yeah, we have more than enough investigation. We've actually defeated both monsters. So what we can do is remove all the dice from these monsters. Great, and that sanity's gone. And then we check the back of these. Now, both of these are not mask enemies. So unfortunately, because of what we're fighting right now, that ancient one, we have to discard them. Now, we could lose 2 sanity to gain a relic, but Preston only has 2 sanity left, so that would kill him. So we can't do that. So we just had to lose both of these, which is a bummer. But we still do get this card as a trophy, and it's worth 3. So that's pretty nice. We'll then place this Cairo Streets out on the table. At the end of Preston's turn, we'll move to 6 o'clock. For Agatha's turn, let's go ahead and do another Temple District. So we can look at the top 3 cards of either adventure deck and put one of those face down at the bottom of the deck. Here are 3 from the level 1 adventure cards, and look, there are 2 that have relics, and we need relics, because remember, at midnight, we have to discard a relic or place another doom. But I really like this, because this is 3 unique items. So I don't know. This looks like a really bad negative effect. That means you'd actually place additional doom, and you have to discard 1 common item to go here. This one, you have to do it in the specific order. You see that arrow, but there's only 3 dice that you need. So I think I'm actually going to put the corner gift shop at the bottom of the deck and place these 2 on top of the deck. Let's see what she has to complete. So we have Lost in Thought. Oh, and you see how we've got the arrow pointing down? So we have to first do Investigation 1. That shouldn't be bad. But then we need a Skull, Lore, and we need Terror. And all of those are only on one side of the green die. Wow, that's going to be hard. I think it's time we pull out the alien statue. And how we do that is we're going to discard this. And now for this resolution phase, we'll get to roll the red die along with our green dice. Here we have 7 dice, just looking for 1 investigation this first time. And we almost didn't get it, but we have 1 here with 2 investigation. So we have that. She also has to lose 1 sanity. And when she loses 1 sanity, she gains another clue token. So she now has 3 clue tokens. Sweet. Now we'll go ahead and pick all of these back up. And we hope for a roll like the one we just had, because I think we had everything we needed for the second roll in that one. Let's see. We have a skull, we have lore, and we have terror. Oh, and we rolled a wild on the red die. We didn't even need the red die. So far, we have been rolling wonderfully. So we can either gain 1 clue and 1 spell, or 1 clue and 1 skill. Not a question. 1 clue and 1 skill. This will give us a total of 4 clues, which is insane. We haven't had to even use 1 yet. I love it. And we have Persuasive. Each time you draw an ally, draw 2 allies instead. Choose 1 to keep and discard the other. That can be our ability for the rest of the game. Or we can just discard this skill at any time to draw an ally. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I mean, it's not often you gain allies, so let's just get another one. We'll draw the top card here, and we have Granny Orn. When Granny Orn joins you, place 4 clue tokens on her. You may use these tokens as if they are her own. Wow! She is going to have then 8 clue tokens that she can use. That is insane. We're still enjoying the scenery of Cairo, so we're just going to grab the top card of the level 1 deck, and we're going to move the clock to 9 p.m. The next time it rings, we're going to be at midnight, and we're going to have to either place a doom or discard a relic. Now, there's a really nasty card here called Ill Omens. At midnight, if this is face down, this negative effect happens. So we're going to have Preston come over here and try and resolve this. And because he's doing that, he flips it, and that'll no longer happen. However, we have the harried flight. Add midnight, add 1 doom to the doom track. So it's going to happen anyways. And we need 7 investigation, and we need a terror, and we have to move the clock over 2 times. Oh, man. Well, there's no playing around for us. We're going to discard the cavalry saber, so we get to roll the yellow die along with our green dice. Here's our 7 dice, looking for a total of 7 investigation and 1 terror. We have a total of 2, 4, 6 investigation and 1 terror. So this is a great time to use our one and only clue. So when we use a clue, you can re-roll as many dice as you want. So I don't want to re-roll this 2, or this 2, or this 2, because that's 6, and we have 1 terror. We're going to re-roll these 3, looking for just 1 investigation. Come on! 1 investigation. Yes! Look, that's actually a 4. Cool. So we totally have enough. 7 investigation and 1 terror. So we've definitely succeeded, except for we have to move the clock forward 2 times. And by doing that, ding, ding, yeah, we hit midnight. So the first thing that we need to resolve is that this is still face up. We're going to have to add 1 doom to the doom track. We'll place that right here. And then unfortunately, we also have to add 1 doom to the doom track unless an investigator discards a relic. We don't have a relic. Ugh. And we now have to spawn a monster. So we're going to grab a monster from this bag. And we have, oh, this one doesn't look terrible. Is this a mask monster? Yes, it is. The Black Man. Now, I didn't do a very good job of explaining how monsters were spawned because this card, remember, it spawned 2 monsters. You see how there's a white box around this? Whenever you see that, whenever a monster appears, it'll go in that location and cover up whatever is there. So you can see I would place it here. That's why I placed those 2 monsters in these 2 locations when this card showed up. Don't worry, we've already completed this one. We're not going to put it there. But if you have no cards out that have these icons, these white boxes, then you can place a monster on any adventure that you'd like. Since I'm not thinking of completing this adventure anytime soon, I'm going to go ahead and place the monster here at the outpost. Now, I can't place another monster there until I've placed monsters on all of the other adventure cards, but right now, at least, I'm okay with having the 9 investigation. Or wait, no, this is only a 6, I think. No, I think it's a 9. Yeah, it's definitely a 9. Yeah, that stinks. That's a 9 and a clock turn. Yeah, I'm glad I have them over here. The other thing that happens at midnight is we have to draw a new Mythos card. Yeah, a lot happens at midnight. So we either have stock up or rob them blind. Each investigator discards all of his or her trophies and gains 1 common item and 1 unique item. Or add 1 doom token to the doom track. Then the investigators as a group gain 2 expedition tokens. No. I'm going to discard the trophies. Yeah, it stinks, but I can get more. I don't want to place more doom yet. I am not ready for that. And we each gain a common item and a unique item. Okay, that's cool. Agatha drew the Sword of Glory, which is awesome. She gets a yellow and a red die for this uncommon item or unique item. And then she grabbed a shotgun. After rolling, discard this to change 1 die to a skull result. Cool. And then Preston here is going to gain these 2 items, an enchanted knife and a 38 revolver. And remember, whenever he gains a unique or common item, once per turn, he can regain 1 stamina or 1 sanity. So he's going to regain 1 sanity since his sanity was only at 2. So now all of that happened before we fully resolved this card, because remember, we hit midnight because we were turning the clock here. So now we get to resolve our benefit. Preston will grab 2 unique items, so he gets another red one and another red one that says after rolling, discard to defeat 1 monster. Oh, cool! And he gets a relic. That's what this icon means. And we have here a green one. After you use this relic, regain 1 sanity. Whoa! So cool! And what this icon means is after we have lost a die due to failing, we can actually put a green die back into our dice pool by using this relic. Now the final icon here, this one that looks like a shovel and a pick, that means we get to place an expedition token. I think the one I'm going to take is the one right here. It says, discard this token at the start of your turn to flip the entrance to the other side. That way we don't have to waste time flipping to the other side of the card, of the entrance card. I like that. Now, the final thing about this adventure card, I'm going to say that he also gets to claim it as a trophy since we already had midnight happen and we already discarded all of our trophies. That was before this card was resolved. I think that's right. Let me know if you disagree. So, Preston has the harried flight as his first trophy again. We're currently still in Cairo, so we'll go ahead and grab this top adventure card and tick the clock over to 6 p.m. For Agatha's turn, the first thing she's going to do is discard this expedition token so we can move from Cairo over here to Dashura. Now this means whenever we replace any of the adventure cards that are out there, we'll replace them from the level 2 stack. They're going to be harder, but they're also going to start giving us those elder signs. I think we're going to go to the Cairo streets. This way she can regain 1 stamina and 1 sanity. So her stamina will be back to a max of 4, and her sanity will be at 5 out of 6. We have a meeting of minds. This really does not look hard. A 2 and a 1 for an investigation, and a 2 and a 1 for an investigation, and we can do them in either order, not that it really matters, and we could gain another skill. Yeah, totally going to go for another skill. Here's our 6 green dice. Let's give them a roll. Okay, we've got a 1 and a 2. For our first roll, and we just need a 2 and a 1 for the second roll. Gonna happen right here. I feel it. Well, there's a 3. Oh, that doesn't work. A 3 doesn't work, you guys. I need 2 different dice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use one of my 8 clue tokens. I'm gonna remove this 3 because the 3 will still cover at least the 2 investigation we need. And yep, there we go. That will work. For completing this adventure, let's go ahead and draw our top skill card. And we have Bravery. Once during your turn, you may ignore 1 terror effect. Okay. Or discard during any investigator's turn to fully regain your sanity. Oh, that is super cool. Now we'll go ahead and replace the adventure card, but we're going to use the level 2 adventure cards. Now, this top card is called the Chamber of the Sun, and that is a hidden chamber special adventure card. How we get in here is we have to, in a single roll exactly what's here in order to break into there. But remember what was in there? 3 elder signs. Yeah, so we're going to want to try and break in there as often as we can. And I'll show you how that works as we continue on. We'll also move the clock to 9 p.m. At midnight, we're going to have the midnight effects happen.